Live from New Delhi, you're watching the India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour, ushering in a new dawn of self-reliance in the aviation sector, Prime Minister Modi virtually inaugurates Safran Aircraft Engine Services India facility in South Indian city of Hyderabad. Nation celebrates Constitution Day, commemorates the 75th year of India as a republic and the adoption of India's constitution. President Draupadi Murmu leads the celebrations in New Delhi. India and Russia-led EAEU begin FTA talks in New Delhi aimed at opening new markets for Indian businesses. Brazilian Supreme Court orders former President Jair Bolsonaro to begin 27-year imprisonment. Bolsonaro calls it a psychological torture and a rigged game. India hits the jackpot as its bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games is set to be formally approved at the Commonwealth Sport General Assembly in Glasgow. Marking a huge step towards the goal of Atmanirbharta or self-reliance in the aviation sector, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated the Safran Aircraft Engine Services India or SAESI facility in Hyderabad via video conferencing. Now, this is Safran's dedicated maintenance, repair and overhaul facility for LEAP or the leading edge aviation propulsion engines which power the Airbus and Boeing aircraft. The establishment of the facility marks a significant milestone as it is not only one of the largest global aircraft engine MRO facilities, but also the first time a global engine OEM, that is original equipment manufacturer, has set up an MRO operation in India. Prime Minister said that this new facility will help establish India as a global MRO hub and will also open new opportunities for the youth.
एयरलाइन कंपनियों ने 1500 से ज्यादा नए एयरक्राफ्ट का ऑर्डर दिया है। साथियों, भारत के एविएशन सेक्टर में तेज एक्सपेंशन के चलते मेंटेनेंस, रिपेयर एंड ओवरहॉल एमआरओ की सुविधाओं की जरूरतें भी बढ़ रही है। हमारा 85% एमआरओ का काम देश के बाहर होता रहा है। इससे खर्च बढ़ता था, समय ज्यादा लगता था और एयरक्राफ्ट लंबे समय तक ग्राउंडेड रहते थे। ये स्थिति भारत जैसे विशाल एविएशन मार्केट के लिए ठीक नहीं थी। इसलिए आज भारत सरकार देश के दुनिया के एक बड़े एमआरओ केंद्र के रूप में विकसित कर रही है। अब पहली बार देश में एक ग्लोबल ओईएम डीप लेवल सर्विसिंग की सुविधा स्थापित कर रहा है। साथियों, साफरान की ग्लोबल ट्रेनिंग, नॉलेज ट्रांसफर और भारत के इंस्टीट्यूशंस के साथ साझेदारी, इससे देश में एक ऐसी वर्कफोर्स तैयार होगी जो आने वाले वर्षों में पूरे एमआरओ इकोसिस्टम को नई गति, नई दिशा देगी।
Prime Minister Modi added, with strong growth, stability, talent and a welcoming investment mindset, India shows that investing in it is one of this decade's smartest decisions.
साथियों, भारत के पास तेज ग्रोथ है, स्थिर सरकार है, रिफॉर्म से जुड़ा माइंडसेट है, बहुत बड़ा यंग टैलेंट पूल है, एक विशाल डोमेस्टिक मार्केट है और सबसे खास बात, भारत में निवेश करने वालों के लिए हम सिर्फ इन्वेस्टर नहीं बल्कि को क्रिएटर मानते हैं। हम उन्हें विकसित भारत की जर्नी के स्टेक होल्डर मानते हैं। इसलिए मैं सभी इन्वेस्टर से कहूंगा, इंडिया इज प्रूविंग बाय बेटिंग ऑन इंडिया इज द स्मार्टेस्ट बिजनेस डिसीजन ऑफ दिस डेकेड।
Further, Prime Minister Modi said that India's top reform policies and liberalized FDI regime are boosting investment, innovation and global manufacturing under Make in India.
पहला हमने अर्थव्यवस्था के दरवाजे खोले, दूसरा हमने अपनी फंडामेंटल्स को और मजबूत किया, तीसरा हमने बिजनेस को आसान बनाया। साथियों, आज अधिकांश सेक्टर्स में 100% एफडीआई ऑटोमेटिक रूट से संभव है। डिफेंस जैसे सेक्टर जहां पहले प्राइवेट सेक्टर को जगह नहीं थी, वहां भी 74% तक एफडीआई ऑटोमेटिक रूट से खोल दिया गया है। स्पेस सेक्टर में भी बड़ी अप्रोच अपनाई गई है और इन कदमों ने दुनिया को साफ संदेश दिया है, इंडिया वेलकम्स इन्वेस्टमेंट, इंडिया वेलकम्स इनोवेशन। प्रोडक्शन लिंक इंसेंटिव स्कीम्स ने ग्लोबल मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को मेक इन इंडिया की ओर आकर्षित किया है।
All right, to help us understand this development better, we are joined in by Dr. Sumit Sasilan, member AAC, Ministry of Civil Aviation, and we're also joined in by Mr. N.K. Berry, former regional aviation expert and director, North Air India. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. Mr. Berry, first to you, help us understand this development. We've heard Prime Minister talk of how this will bring in a new dawn in the aviation sector. What does it mean for the sector?
Hello, good afternoon, Captain Berry. Safran is a very good project, good for Indian aviation. With this, we can save so much of money because all the aircraft engines, everything goes out, landing gear, etc. And they charge so much of money. Once in the Indian, that is here in Hyderabad, it'll be saving a lot of money for all the airlines. And Safran is a, I think, French company which makes Rafale engines also, and some joint venture in India. I think it'll be saving a lot of money for India. It's another feather in Prime Minister's cap. He is really robust for Indian economy.
All right, I'll take that forward to Dr. Sumit. Dr. Sumit, also you help us understand why is this facility so useful for India and how will it mark a significant milestone?
I should say that first of all, congratulations to the entire aviation fraternity that we had got such a big, like looking from very long. Because in India, you should say like around 10 to 30% of the aircrafts are grounded because of the engine issues. Most of the airlines are facing issues because they have to send their aircraft to overseas to the nearby countries like Singapore, Dubai and all for the services. Now, with this initiative of 1300 crore investment of Safran in India, we will be able to do the entire service in India itself. We will be saving a lot of taxes, and the best part, we will be always having the aircrafts ready and on air. So earlier it was not possible because every time even the parts were the big challenges in India. The parts used to take 45 to 50 days to get it delivered from US and Europe. But now because of the Safran is a OEM itself, we will be having all the parts, spare parts available in our country itself. And above this thing, more than 2,000 people will be getting manpower,
Yes, please continue, sir.
employments in within the country, and definitely that is gonna increase the entire GDP of the nation itself.
Yes, also the Prime Minister highlighted how India's pro-reform policies and also liberalization have ushered in more investment. How do you evaluate these steps, the measures that have been taken directed at, encouraging and targeting Atmanirbharta or self-reliance for India? It is not just in defense, but also in the aviation sector. To what extent will it help India, strengthen its footprint on the global page?
Sorry, I could not hear, ma'am. Sorry.
Sir, am I audible?
Little.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Berry, we were talking of how India's pro-reform policies and also liberalization of the economy have helped in increasing the investments, helped in ushering in the investments. Now, this was the point highlighted by the Prime Minister also. How do you evaluate the pro-reform policies that have been put forward that have further helped in achieving the target of Atmanirbharta? Where are we standing now, and to what extent will it help in strengthening the footprint of India on the global page?
We are quite ahead now in Indian aviation. Prime Minister is doing so well, so well. I have more than 45 years of experience in aviation. Even I have flown DC-3s to 747-400s, ma'am.
Yes.
And Prime Minister is doing so well. Indian economy will definitely climb and climb in aviation also.
When we talk of the road ahead, sir, Yes, at this point, we are also joined in by Mr. Sumit. Dr. Sumit, we were talking of the reforms and the policies that have been put forth by the government. And Mr. Berry also explained to us how this will help in the longer run. But it is always easier said than done. If we talk of the challenges ahead, how much of the road has been covered and how does the journey ahead look like when we talk of India on its way to achieving Atmanirbharta in the aviation sector?
I think a lot of new initiative had taken in last couple of months itself. Even last month there was a launch of Deutsche aircrafts. We are 40-seater aircraft manufacturing company which came all the way from Germany to India. Now they have started their assembling line in Bangalore itself. So now it means most of the aviation OEM companies are planning to set up their companies within India because most of the orders they are getting from India. If I say the aircraft which are getting manufactured like Airbus or Boeing, every second aircraft which are manufactured in their factory belongs to India now. That means the orders, like as our Honorable Prime Minister said, that the 1500 aircrafts are, we had placed the order for 1500 aircraft, and with upcoming 3 to 4.
All right, there is disruption in the connectivity. Yes, please continue, sir.
Yeah, so we are expecting more than 2000 aircraft order in coming months. So the MROs and the other companies, will be definitely having a very good business from the country.
All right, so indeed it is a sightful collaboration between Safran and India. We will end it here. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us with your insights and helping us understand this development better. We were joined in by Dr. Sumit Sasilan, member AAC, Ministry of Aviation, Civil Aviation, in fact, from Dubai. And we were also joined in by Mr. N.K. Berry, former regional aviation expert and director, North Air India. So they were speaking on the big development that we tracked this morning. Prime Minister today inaugurated the first global MRO facility of Safran in Hyderabad virtually. And also, we now understand why this facility is so useful for India and how it will mark a significant milestone. Let's take a look at this report.
Spread across 45,000 square meters within the GMR Aerospace and Industrial Park SEZ, the state-of-the-art facility developed with an initial investment of around 1,300 crore rupees. Designed to service up to 300 LEAP engines annually, SAESI facility will employ over 1,000 highly skilled Indian technicians and engineers upon achieving full operational capacity by 2035. The facility will feature advanced process equipment to deliver world-class engine maintenance and repair services. The MRO facility will be a huge step towards the goal of self-reliance in the aviation sector. Developing indigenous capabilities in MRO will reduce foreign exchange outflows, create high-value employment, strengthen supply chain resilience, and position India as a global aviation hub. The Government of India is actively working to build a robust MRO ecosystem to support the sector's rapid growth. Key policy initiatives of the government, including GST reforms in 2024, MRO Guidelines 2021, and the National Civil Aviation Policy 2016, have simplified operations for MRO providers by rationalizing tax structures and reducing royalty burdens. French company Safran has undertaken to act as a first-class technology partner in the development of the Indian civil and military aeronautics industry, mainly by supplying engines and/or equipment and support services for aircraft and helicopters. Vishal Baristo's report for DD India.
You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, National Investigation Agency arrests 7th accused of the Delhi terror blast case. INS Vikrant sets step at the port of Colombo on invitation from the Sri Lankan Navy to join the forthcoming International Fleet Review 2025. National Milk Day observed, marking India's progress in milk production, cooperative reforms and women-led dairying.
This week on Defense Dynamics, India's DRDO and France's DGA have signed a pact on technology transfer. What it involves and why it is a game changer. Across the Atlantic, the United States has approved a possible sale of Javelin anti-tank missiles to India, small in size, strategic in impact, and another clearance of 216 Excalibur GPS-guided artillery rounds, boosting India's precision strike capability. Catch the sharpest analysis of power, posture and technology this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Newshour. India is celebrating the 75th Constitution Day. It marks the adoption of its constitution by the Constituent Assembly. President Draupadi Murmu led the celebrations at the Old Parliament Building's historic Central Hall today. On November 26, 1949, the Indian Constituent Assembly formally adopted the Constitution, which came into effect on January 26, 1950. The day is marked by the central government's celebration of the principles of democracy, justice and equality. The President led the reading of the preamble to the Constitution of India during the program. The commemorative booklet, Art and Calligraphy in the Indian Constitution was also released during the program. President Murmu released the translated version of the Constitution in 9 languages, including Malayalam, Marathi, Nepali, Punjabi, Bodo, Kashmiri, Telugu, Odia and Assamese. President Murmu said that the Constitution is the guiding document to shun colonial mindset and adopt nationalistic thinking.
आज ही के दिन उस वर्ष हम भारत के लोगों ने अपने संविधान को अपनाया था। स्वाधीनता के बाद संविधान सभा ने भारत की अंतरिम संसद के रूप में भी कर्तव्य निर्वहन किया। प्रारूप समिति के अध्यक्ष बाबा साहेब डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर हमारे संविधान के प्रमुख निर्माताओं में से थे। बाबा साहेब की 125वीं जयंती के वर्ष में यानी सन 2015 में 26 नवंबर को प्रतिवर्ष संविधान दिवस के रूप में मनाने का निर्णय लिया गया और निर्णय अत्यंत सार्थक सिद्ध हुआ है। आज के दिन पूरा देश भारतीय लोकतंत्र के आधार हमारे संविधान के प्रति तथा उसके निर्माताओं के प्रति आदर व्यक्त करता है।
The Vice President, Prime Minister, Speaker of the Lok Sabha, members of Parliament from both the houses participated in the event. Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan, who hails from Tamil Nadu, began his Constitution Day address in his mother tongue, Tamil. He hailed the Constitution makers, saying the document reflects the soul of the nation.
The elections held in Jammu and Kashmir in 2024, after abrogation of Article 370, the voter turnout in large number make the world to understand our faith in democracy again. In the recently held Bihar elections, voter turnout, particularly that of women in large numbers, has added another precious diamond in the crown of our Mother Bharat democracy. The contributions made by the women members of the Constituent Assembly was uncomparable. On behalf of all of us, I pay our tributes to the great contributions of the women leaders in the Constituent Assembly.
Speaker of the lower house, Om Birla, also paid tribute to the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and India's first president, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, referring to the Samvidhan Sadan as a sacred place where the Constituent Assembly deliberated. He noted that the governments in the past 7 decades have formulated policies to achieve social justice and inclusive development.
भारत विश्व का सबसे जीवंत और सफल लोकतंत्र माना जाता है। हमारा संविधान का गौरव है और हमारे संविधान की प्रस्तावना में लिखित शब्द हम भारत के लोग, हमारी सामूहिक शक्ति, राष्ट्रीय एकता और जन कल्याण के लक्ष्य की सशक्त अभिव्यक्ति है। आज हम सभी का सामूहिक लक्ष्य है वर्ष 2047 तक भारत को विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने का। और ये लक्ष्य तभी पूर्ण होगा जब हम अपने जीवन में संविधान के मूल्यों और आदर्शों को अपनाएंगे।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has written to the citizens of India on the occasion of Constitution Day, recalling the historic adoption of the Constitution in 1949 and underlining its enduring role in guiding the nation's progress. The Prime Minister noted that in 2015, the government declared 26th of November as the Constitution Day to honour this sacred document. Prime Minister Modi highlighted how the Constitution has empowered individuals from humble backgrounds to serve the nation at the highest levels, sharing his own experiences of reverence towards Parliament and the Constitution. He recalled bowing at the steps of Parliament in 2014 and placing the Constitution on his forehead in 2019 as a mark of respect. He emphasized that the Constitution has given countless citizens the power to dream and the strength to realize those dreams. Paying tribute to the members of the Constituent Assembly, the Prime Minister remembered Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar and several distinguished women members whose vision enriched the Constitution. He reflected on milestones such as the Samvidhan Gaurav Yatra in Gujarat during the 60th anniversary of the Constitution and the special session of the Parliament and the nationwide programs held to commemorate its 75th anniversary, which witnessed record public participation. Emphasizing that this year's Constitution Day is especially significant as it coincides with the 150th birth anniversaries of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Bhagwan Birsa Munda, the 150th anniversary of Vande Mataram and the 350th martyrdom anniversary of Shri Tegh Bahadur Ji. The Prime Minister noted that these personalities and milestones remind us of the primacy of our duties as enshrined in Article 51A of the Constitution. He recalled Mahatma Gandhi's belief that the rights flow from the performance of the duties, stressing that fulfilling duties is the foundation of social and economic progress. Looking ahead, Prime Minister observed that 25 years have already passed since the beginning of this century, and in just over 2 decades, India will mark 100 years of freedom from the colonial rule. In 2049, it will be a century since the Constitution was adopted. He underscored that the policies and decisions taken today will shape the lives of generations to come and urged citizens to place their duties foremost in their minds as India moves towards the vision of a Viksit Bharat. Prime Minister stressed on the responsibility of strengthening democracy by exercising the right to vote and suggested that schools and colleges celebrate Constitution Day by honouring the first-time voters turning 18. He expressed confidence that inspiring youth with responsibility and pride will strengthen democratic values and the nation's future. Concluding his letter, the Prime Minister called upon citizens to reaffirm their pledge to fulfill their duties as citizens of this great nation, thereby contributing meaningfully to building a developed and empowered India. On the occasion of Constitution Day, sand artist Sudarshan Patnaik has created a sand art with the message Happy Constitution Day at Puri Beach, Odisha, celebrating the essence of our democracy. He wished that all citizens of the country may remain committed to upholding the values enshrined in the sacred Constitution. Getting you other updates now, India will launch formal negotiations for a free trade agreement with the Russia-led Eurasian Economic Union on Wednesday. India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal announced that the FTA discussions with a 5-member EAEU comprising of Russia, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan will begin in New Delhi following the signing of terms of reference on August 20th. The terms of reference lay out an 18-month roadmap focused on opening new markets for Indian businesses, particularly micro, small and medium enterprises, farmers and fishermen. In an interaction with reporters on Tuesday, the Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal also indicated that India could soon explore a trade agreement with the Southern African Customs Union, signaling a widening of New Delhi's engagements with other regional blocs. SACU comprises of South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Lesotho and Eswatini, offering a sizable market with strong resource-driven economies. The bloc is also the world's oldest customs union, established over a century ago, and a pact with it would mark another step in India's strategy to deepen commercial ties across Africa. Let's get you updates on the Delhi blast case now. The National Investigation Agency has arrested a Faridabad resident for harboring terrorist Umar un-Nabi immediately before the Delhi terror bomb blast. The arrested individual was identified as Soeb of Dhauj, a Faridabad resident. He is the 7th accused to be arrested in the case. NIA investigations have revealed that he had also provided logistical support to the terrorist Umar before the 10th of November car bombing that killed several persons and injured many others outside the Red Fort in the national capital. NIA had earlier arrested 6 other key aides of the car bomber Umar over the course of its investigation in the case. The agency continues to pursue various leads in connection with the suicide bombing and has been conducting searches across the states in coordination with the respective police forces in a bid to identify and track others involved in the gruesome attack. Efforts to unravel the entire conspiracy behind the deadly terror attack are continuing. 17 years ago, Mumbai faced one of the worst terror attacks in India's history. For nearly 60 hours, 10 heavily armed terrorists from Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba struck iconic locations across the city, killing 166 people, including security personnel and foreign nationals. India has repeatedly presented evidence proving Pakistan's role in planning and directing the assault and continues to push for action against the masterminds who remain free. We look back at the night that changed India's fight against terrorism.
On the night of 26th of November 2008, 10 terrorists entered Mumbai by sea after hijacking an Indian fishing boat. Splitting into teams, they opened fire and set off explosions at Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, the Taj Mahal Palace and Trident Hotels, Nariman House and other public spaces. For 3 days, Mumbai burned on live television. By the time commandos neutralized the last gunman, 166 people were dead and over 300 injured. Among the victims were Mumbai's finest ATS chief Hemant Karkare, Additional Commissioner Ashok Kamte, Encounter Specialist Vijay Salaskar and ASI Tukaram Omble, who died capturing and defending their motherland while fighting with the terrorists. Their courage, along with the restraint of the hotel staff and Mumbai police, saved hundreds of lives. The captured gunman Ajmal Kasab confessed to being trained in Pakistan by Lashkar-e-Taiba. His testimony, call intercepts, GPS data and international investigations showed the terrorists sailed from Karachi and were guided in real time by handlers across the border. Pakistan later acknowledged Kasab's nationality and global agencies identified Lashkar leaders as the key conspirators in the plot. Kasab was convicted in India and executed in 2012, but the masterminds, including Hafiz Saeed and Zakir Rahman Lakfi, remain shielded in Pakistan. Trials there have moved slowly, with brief arrests but no meaningful convictions. The United States and the United Nations have sanctioned several Lashkar operatives, yet the accountability is incomplete without prosecution of those who planned, financed and directed the attacks. India has since strengthened coastal security, expanded NSG hubs and empowered the National Investigation Agency, reforms shaped directly by the 26/11 attacks. International cooperation has intensified, leading to cases against operatives like David Headley and the extradition of Tahawur Rana to face trial in India. As the nation pays tribute today, families say justice will be served only when every architect of the Mumbai attack is brought to book, no matter how long it takes. Bureau Report, DD India.
President Draupadi Murmu has paid tribute to martyrs of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. In a social media post, the president said, and I quote her, "On the anniversary of 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, I pay my humble tribute to the brave soldiers who sacrificed their lives to protect the people of our country. The nation remembers their supreme sacrifice with gratitude. Let us reaffirm our commitment to combat terrorism in all its forms. Let us move forward together on the path of progress with the resolve to build a stronger and more prosperous India." You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, US President Trump confirms meeting between US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Russian President Putin. Amid growing military escalation between the US and Venezuela, US President signals openness to speak with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. And Italy makes femicide a separate crime, allowing life term for gender-based killings.
For the longest time, we treated the Earth's resources as endless. But now the real challenge is to rethink how we use what we already have, because how we manage the environment's resources will dictate our chances of survival.
He applied finely crushed basalt rock on 2 of his 4 fields and says the difference is clear to see.
It's like a window of opportunity. For every hour we are working with this project.
The pumped groundwater is first filtered. Then it goes into a tank and is filtered again. After that, it is collected in this tank where people can access it.
We have been making handicrafts from banana plants for quite some time now. Currently, we produce around 30 products.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get to more updates. Brazil's Supreme Court on Tuesday ordered former far-right President Jair Bolsonaro to begin 27-year prison sentence for a coup plot against his successor, a climax to years of political turmoil. The top court formally concluded the case against Bolsonaro, making his conviction final, pending confirmation by a 4-member Supreme Court panel in the evening. The panel already rejected his appeal this month, while Congressman Eduardo Bolsonaro, the former president's son, said that Bolsonaro's prosecution was psychological torture and a rigged game.
All that he's going through stems from psychological pressure, a form of psychological torture, as he himself says, because someone who needs an electronic bracelet, someone who is already under house arrest, known throughout the country and even more, so with armed security at his door 24 hours a day and surveillance cameras, then the truth is that all the pressure is coming down on Jair Bolsonaro. If an amnesty law is passed, it will cease.
Bolsonaro's supporters and critics gathered outside Brazil's federal police headquarters in Brasilia on Tuesday after the sentence. Supporters argued with Bolsonaro loyalists, some of whom carried banners asking for amnesty for all political prisoners and exiles. Bolsonaro also served more than 100 years under house arrest in Brasilia. While facing charges, he solicited Trump's interference on his behalf. Let's get to updates on Russia-Ukraine conflict now. US President Donald Trump on Tuesday backed away from his earlier Thursday deadline for Ukraine to agree to a US-backed peace plan, saying the deadline for me is when it's over. Trump said US negotiators were making progress in discussions with Russia and Ukraine, and Moscow had agreed to some concessions. Trump said that his envoy, Steve Witkoff, would be meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, was also involved.
Going to keep talking. They're talking to Russia now. Steve Witkoff is going over, maybe with Jared. I'm not sure about Jared going, but he's involved in the process. Smart guy, and they're going to be meeting with President Putin, I believe, next week in Moscow.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Tuesday that Kyiv is ready to advance to a US-backed framework for ending the conflict with Russia and discuss disputed points with President Trump. But Zelensky said that any talks should also include Ukraine's European allies.
Now we have a good result from Geneva and from the meetings and talks that took place there. Ukraine has the framework developed by our teams in Geneva. That framework is on the table, and we are ready to move forward together with the United States of America, with personal engagement of President Trump, and with Europe, with leaders, and with all partners who have the strengths and capacity to help. And I'm ready to meet with President Trump, and there are sensitive points to discuss. We have them still.
Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Tuesday said that London was ready to move with the European Union on providing financial support to Ukraine based on the value of immobilized assets.
Support Ukraine now. So even as we work towards peace, and we are, there could be no letting up of support to keep Ukraine in the fight. And that requires urgent solutions on things like financing and capability. We, the UK, are ready to move with the EU on providing financial support based on the value of the immobilized assets. This is the best way to show Putin he should negotiate rather than trying to outweight us.
French President Emmanuel Macron also said that France will finalize with other European Union countries a solution for providing financial support to Ukraine using frozen Russian assets. Macron also said that the coalition will launch a working group led by France and Britain with close involvement from Turkey.
We are clearly at a crucial juncture. Negotiations are getting a new impetus, and we should seize this momentum, not because there is reason for alarm. Ukraine is solid, Russia is slow, and Europe is steadfast, but because there is finally a chance to make real progress toward a good peace. But the absolute condition for a good peace is a set of very robust security guarantees and not paper guarantees.
US President Donald Trump has signaled a possible diplomatic opening amid a growing military escalation between the US and Venezuela. Talking to media aboard Air Force One, the US President expressed his openness to speak with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro if their dialogue could save lives. He added that their respective teams are already in contact with the goal of arranging a direct conversation between the two leaders. Meanwhile, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro led a civic military march in Caracas on Tuesday. He vowed to defend the nation against imperialist threats and called for unity among civilians, politicians and the armed forces. The march comes amid ongoing political and economic tensions in Venezuela, facing US military threats and increasing pressure.
With responsibility and love, I tell our people, if Bolivar could build 7 army corps to liberate all of South America and secure the independence of Central America and beyond, we must be able to defend every inch of this blessed land from any imperialist threat or aggression, wherever and whenever it comes.
Alerta! Italian lawmakers on Tuesday unanimously approved a landmark bill that makes femicide a distinct crime in the country's penal code, punishable by life imprisonment. The new provision classifies femicide as a homicide based on the characteristics of the victim, going beyond previous laws that only treated such cases as aggravated circumstances when the perpetrator was related to the victim. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni welcomed the move, calling it a vital measure to defend the freedom and dignity of every woman. In Italy, official data from the National Statistics Institute shows that 116 of the 327 homicides recorded in 2024 involved female victims. Nepal's Finance Ministry has allocated approximately 5 billion rupees to the Election Commission for the upcoming House of Representatives election scheduled for March 5th, 2026. The Election Commission is expected to complete the voter list verification process in November. The public will be invited to file complaints and requests for corrections regarding the voter list in December. Once all the verification and complaints processes are completed, the final voter list will be published by December 30th. By now, 132 political parties have been registered to participate in the upcoming House of Representatives election on March 5th next year. Out of 132, 61 parties have registered for election purposes. The deadline for registration of election purposes ends today. The Indian Navy's indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant arrived today at the port of Colombo on invitation from the Sri Lankan Navy to join the forthcoming International Fleet Review 2025. A large crowd, including many children and members of the Indian diaspora, gathered at the Colombo port to greet the towering warship, marking a significant moment of maritime diplomacy. This is the first ever foreign visit by INS Vikrant, commissioned in 2022 as India's first fully indigenous aircraft carrier. It represents a major milestone for the Indian Navy. The visit continues a long tradition of goodwill between India and Sri Lanka, cementing mutual trust and cooperation. The Sri Lankan Navy is conducting its fleet review as part of its 75th anniversary celebrations and will bring together ships from several countries, reflecting Colombo's ambition to underscore its growing role in regional maritime diplomacy.
Navy's indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant arrived today at Colombo port on invitation from the Sri Lankan Navy to join the forthcoming Sri Lankan Navy's International Fleet Review. A large crowd, including many children and members of the Indian diaspora, gathered at the port to greet the towering warship, marking a significant moment of maritime diplomacy and public fascination. INS Vikrant was commissioned in 2022 as India's first fully indigenous aircraft carrier, representing a major milestone for the Indian Navy. The visit continues a long tradition of goodwill between India and Sri Lanka, cementing mutual trust and cooperation. Ahmed Muin Farooqi for DD India, Colombo.
India celebrates National Milk Day today, marking the birth anniversary of Dr. Verghese Kurian, the father of the White Revolution. This day highlights the country's progress in milk production, cooperative reforms and women-led dairying. Here's a report.
Milk has long been at the heart of India's nutritional system, and today India is the world's largest milk producer, contributing nearly 1/4 of global output. Over the last 11 years, India's dairy sector has surged by 70%, supporting over 8 crore farmers, many of them women. National Milk Day honors Dr. Verghese Kurian, whose vision transformed India from a milk-deficient nation in the 1960s into a dairy powerhouse. Beginning with the Anand model and Amul cooperative, the White Revolution reorganized farmers, modernized procurement and connected rural milk to urban markets.
It is indeed a matter of pride for India to be the largest producer of milk in the world. India is also on the cusp of the White Revolution 2.0, which has been spearheaded by the Ministry of Cooperation, Government of India. This will indeed make India a dairy to the world, and in the next 1 decade, we are looking to produce 1/3 of the total milk in the world. Milk is indeed a symbol of India's Atmanirbharta, not just the food security part of it, but also a symbol of women empowerment and how through cooperatives we can bring together the small milk producers and make India a global force.
Milk production has jumped from 146 million tons in 2014 and 15 to 239 million tons in 2023. Per capita availability has risen nearly fourfold, reaching 471 grams per person per day. Flagship schemes like the Rashtriya Gokul Mission and National Artificial Insemination Program are boosting genetic potential and animal health. More than 9 crore animals have been covered under artificial insemination supported by 22 IVF labs. Village-level technicians called Maitris now deliver doorstep breeding services across India. Under the National Programme for Dairy Development, over 31,000 cooperative societies have been revised or formed. More than 61,000 village milk testing labs, 6,000 bulk milk coolers and several modern processing plants have been set up. Women remain central, 70% of the dairy workforce, with over 48,000 women-led cooperatives emerging nationwide. A major boost also came in September 2025 when the GST Council reduced the taxes on key dairy products. As India marks National Milk Day 2025, the nation honors not only Dr. Kurian's legacy but also the millions of farmers, especially women, who keep the milk flowing and the economy growing. Meghna Dev for DD India.
The International Film Festival of India is currently underway in coastal Indian state of Goa. The current edition witnesses a successful conclusion of Waves Film Bazaar and Creative Minds of Tomorrow's 5th edition. Many students got to meet with industry leaders and a few of them won accolades too. The event is also featuring films under different categories including Indian Panorama, international premieres, gala premieres and world premieres. The ongoing edition also premiered the internationally acclaimed film The President's Cake that bagged 2 awards at Cannes, an award at BIFF, and is currently being showcased across 4 ongoing world film festivals. Apart from this, Indian films like Khoya Paya, Mohanlal's Thuduram and Patrulekha are being showcased to the audiences. Apart from that, the event also paid homage to late legendary actor Dharmendra and toned down the festivities too in his honour. You're watching DD India Newshour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, India suffered their heaviest defeat by runs at home in a test match as South Africa swept the series 2-0. And the ICC has announced the schedule for T20 World Cup next year. The tournament will begin on 7th of February with India and Sri Lanka acting as co-hosts.
How much of India's democracy is really a British leftover?
It is outrageous to suggest that the British have any reason to applaud themselves that India is a democracy at the end of 200 years of colonial oppression. Those who demanded democracy were ruthlessly suppressed, arrested, beaten brutally, killed in many cases. There are very many countries that at different times in different ways became democratic without having to go through the great blessing of being oppressed, enslaved and colonized.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Newshour. There is a silent political storm brewing in Germany and a new pension bill is at the center of it. Big disagreements within the ruling coalition could threaten the stability of this government. For more on this, let's head over to DW correspondent Wada Imran in Berlin. Wada, a pension is a big topic in Germany. Tell us more about the debate surrounding it.
Pension is a rather important and somewhat sensitive topic here in Germany. Now, it was also a big talking point of the ruling parties, the CDU, CSU and SPD, during the campaigning time as well. Currently, today's retirees are financed by today's workers through mandatory contributions. Retirement age is basically 67 at the moment, and pension promises 48% of your average income if you have worked 45 years. Now, a new pension bill that has already been approved by Merz's cabinet ties average pension levels to wages until 2031. This keeps retirees' purchasing power aligned with the working population. Now, the dispute is over what happens after 2031. The SPD or the Social Democrats want to push for an extension of this beyond 2031, saying that workers deserve long-term certainty and are rejecting any rollback of this reform. But the question is how much of this pension reform will cost and who will budge at the end.
All right, Vardha. So all of it comes down to who can finance future pension plans. Now, is the government's plan sustainable?
Well, that depends on who you ask. Parts of the government want to continue keeping pension at 48%. But the youth chapter of Merz's CDU party is completely against this. They say that by reducing the 48% number by 1%, that would save hundreds of billions in the coming years. The youth chapter also argues that such high pension rate will really burden future workers. But the Social Democrats have promised this reform to voters, and they're not going to back down. down. And the youth chapter isn't backing down either. Now consider this against the current economic backdrop where Germany's third quarter numbers show stagnation in the economy. Germany's economy minister Katharina Reiche proposed linking retirement age to life expectancy, citing Denmark and Sweden models. Other politicians have different proposals. But one thing is clear, if there is no solution, the cracks in this government will start to show.
All right, Vardha, we leave it here. Thank you for joining in. And now we turn focus to sports. We will talk of the Commonwealth first. India's bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games is set to be formally approved at the Commonwealth Sport General Assembly in Glasgow today. Now, during the assembly, the members of the Commonwealth will take the final decision regarding the host of the Games. Earlier, the Indian city of Ahmedabad was recommended as the host city for the multi-sports tournament by the Commonwealth Sport Executive Board. India faced competition from the Nigerian city of Abuja, but the board decided to consider the African nation for the 2034 edition. The 2030 edition will mark 100 years of the Commonwealth Games, which was held for the first time in 1930 in Canada. India last hosted the 2010 Commonwealth Games in the year 2010. South Africa clinched the series on day 5 of the second test against India at the ACS Stadium in Guwahati. India began the final day under immense pressure, chasing an improbable 549 to win. The hosts were bundled out for just 140 runs, falling short by 408. Off spinner Simon Harmer produced a match-winning spell, taking 6 wickets to dismantle India's batting lineup. The victory gave South Africa their first test series whitewash over India in 25 years, underlining their dominance in the contest. The ICC has announced the schedule, draws and groups for the T20 World Cup next year. The tournament will begin on 7th of February with India and Sri Lanka acting as co-hosts. The final will be played on 8th of March. Defending champions India will open their campaign against the US in Mumbai on February 7th. 20 teams will compete for the coveted title. They have been divided in 4 groups of 5 sides each. India are clubbed in Group A alongside arch rivals Pakistan, the Netherlands, Namibia and the USA. The much-awaited India versus Pakistan match will take place on February 15th in Colombo. Pakistan will play all their matches in Sri Lanka. Organised by the ICC, the T20 World Cup is held every 2 years and the upcoming tournament is its 10th edition. Also, FIFA has announced the draw procedure for the 2026 World Cup, keeping Spain, Argentina, France, England apart before the final. The top 4 seeded countries will not be able to meet until the semi-finals for the first time in the tournament's history if those teams win their groups. The rule aims to maintain competitive balance in the expanded 48-team format, ensuring the top-ranked team Spain and number 2 world champions Argentina are in the opposite halves of the bracket, with the same applying to number 3 France and number 4 England. The 2026 World Cup draw will take place on 5th of December in Washington. The tournament in the US, Mexico and Canada kicks off on 11th of June with the final on 19th of July in New Jersey. In a groundbreaking development for Indian basketball, a record 80 teams are set to compete in the 3x3 All India Basketball Championship. Scheduled for December 27th and 28th, the national capital will play host to this prestigious tournament, which promises to showcase the sport's dynamic format. The competition is dedicated to the memory of late Harish Sharma, an esteemed international basketball player and a sports administrator.
Tournament. It is in fact a commitment to promote sports legacy of Harish and imbibe the values of a sports-centric culture for Delhi. Competitions are going to be very attractive in the sense that we have prize money, which is going to be a great incentive for our youth players and also for our senior players and legends who will participate in this competition.
As I have already shared with you that, this competition, we have invited around 80 teams, 50 from this boys side and 30 from the girls side, men and women both. So we are giving exposure to the best players who are available in India to take part, and definitely we think when we'll continuously will organize this type of competitions, the standard of basketball in India will definitely improve.
That's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.